It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Thanks for joining us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. Interesting show for you today. You know, I know most of you, you go about doing your jobs, your work, etc., and you listen to what's happening in the country, and then you're doing your own thing. So I would like to do today is to bring you up to date as what's happening in the country, because it does affect you. Former Congressman Lou Barletta is my guest today, and we're going to talk about a few things. Some of them are going to get you upset. Some will make you happy. Hopefully, we'll look at this show as being constructive. Congressman Barletta, how are you?
I'm doing good, Sam. Thanks.
Now that you're retired, okay, you got everything going for you. That's fantastic. Okay, family's all right then?
Yeah, family's good.
How about our grandson? How's he doing?
He had his surgery. We wish everyone would continue to keep him in his prayers. He's got a long road to go, but he's doing well.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. He does have many prayers from the Lesante
thank
family.
you.
I want you to know that. All right. So, talking to people, you know, I guess they think Lou Barletta is not involved, not active, etc. So, tell us where you are right now in your position as a former congressman. You still have contacts with the White House. How active are you? And then I'd like to get some of your opinions on the direction the country is going.
I do. I've been very active, actually, continuing to talk with the White House and with the administration, as well as people down in Washington and back here in Pennsylvania. And I'm in a position now, Sam, where I'm free to really talk to whoever I want, whenever I want, and I'm going to stay very involved. I'm going to stay very involved in Pennsylvania politics and the direction that Pennsylvania is going, as well as the country. I feel, although I'm not in the House of Representatives anymore, I'm very, very concerned as to what's happening there. As you know, during my time in Washington, I tried to lead on issues that I thought were important to the American people and to the working folks. And I think this is, we're at another crossroads again.
Looking at the country right now, okay, the sad part is we're not really getting, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're not really getting true information from the major media, the news media, okay? For whatever reason, they hate Trump so much that everything, you don't know whether to believe it, okay, what they're saying. And unfortunately, some of them are, what they spew out are not truths, okay? It's a lot of fake news, and because they hate this guy. Your position right now, we hear, how is the country really doing, Lou? How is the country really doing?
Well, in spite of all the negative press from the media, and even Ted Koppel, who would not be considered a conservative by any means,
No.
came out recently and just said that the media's hatred for Donald J. Trump is so deep that they now feel it's their duty for America to try to stop him, and they do that in many ways. Sam, just take a look at headlines and the front pages of America's papers all over. And you can see the bias and the slant in how they word the headlines, the negative slant that's put to the headlines, which is showing their own bias rather than just reporting what people want. And I think that's some of the downfall of why newspapers are beginning to struggle. People don't believe them anymore, and they can see through this bias that they now have for this president, and they don't want to read that in their paper in the morning. They don't want to see that so blatant. A CNN poll, again, of all organizations, CNN just did a poll that 70% of the American people like the way the economy is going right now, and that's what matters to most people: is how am I doing? What's the benefit to me? You know, can I take care of my family? Am I going to be able to take care of our parents when they get old? All those concerns. Are we going to be able to put our kids through school? How are we going to do this? That's what people care about. And now you have people in Washington talking about getting rid of cows, airplanes, goofy stuff that they're talking about that is not what people at our homes, at their kitchen table, are talking about, and I'm very, very concerned about what's the direction this country is going to go.
When we're looking at facts, and again, I'm really troubled and confused when it comes to this. When you look at facts, and I guess we have to look at facts. There are more people working in the country ever before. Is that a fact?
Yeah, the economy's, this is one of the best economies we've ever had. Okay. Unemployment's at record lows. Home ownership is up. Wage growth has gone up 3%. You know, we haven't seen wage growth like that, and that's going to continue to go up because as the economy continues, workers are going to be competing with each other for jobs, and they're going to get paid more. This is where the president's saying, listen, we've got to protect the American worker. We can't allow illegal workers to come in here and depress those wages. That's what will stop this. What will stop wage growth if we flood the market with people coming into the country illegally competing for jobs, which will depress the wages of the American worker. And listen, I maybe might have been a little bit ahead of the curve when I was mayor here, talking about the effects this will have on our country. But I think we're seeing it today, and a weak Congress, Republicans as well as Democrats, who have allowed this to happen, who were more worried about getting reelected than standing up and saying what's right. It's not racist, it's not discriminating. You're standing up for immigrants, you're standing up for American workers and protecting them. And this is why it took a president to come out and say enough is enough, but Congress never had the backbone to do it in the first place.
Here again, more women working, more African Americans working. So the hatred for this guy, and you listen to some people, they say he is racist, okay? You know the president very well. You've been in his presence many times. You know the family very well. Putting that aside, okay, when he said he wanted to drain the swamp, he is getting a lot of slack for that, I would think, because they see what he's trying to do. Even Republicans, which is sad.
Oh, some of this, they got to go down the drain with with them. When he talks about draining the swamp, Sam, it's not just Democrats.
I know.
Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah.
It's Republicans that got to go too.
Yeah, I mean, so when you look at that, and look, no one's perfect, but I still can't understand the average American today, particularly in northeastern and central Pennsylvania, when they're looking at what politicians, how it affects their lives. Now let's look at how it's going to affect their lives. If you look at the Democrat platform, and if you look at the candidates who are running, okay, let's talk about O'Rourke. You work with him. What kind of person did you find him to be?
So we were on Homeland Security Committee together. So I do know him, and we did work together on Homeland Security, and I am worried to death that Beto O'Rourke could ever even think of becoming president of the United States. I mean, we're talking about a national security issue where drug dealers and gang members are pouring across and bringing drugs into this country. He's talking about tearing down the walls that we already have and allowing people just to come into this country.
So you hear, I saw, I was watching WNEP TV news, and our good friend Nikki Kreis did a report, reporting, and I saw him with all the kids, and he's a nice guy. I mean, so he's a nice guy, okay? So then they interviewed people after, elderly people, and he's a very nice person. He's very nice, and that's wonderful, okay? I mean, and it's just like saying, okay, now I want to talk to the same person and saying, look, God forbid you need a serious operation. Do you want a doctor who is a nice guy, or do you want a doctor who has the substance that can perform the surgery? Okay, and this is what's happening. We saw it in the last election here in northeastern Pennsylvania. I mean, with all due respect to Senator Casey, okay, and I know that you're talking with, and with all due respect to Congressman Cartwright, they came and they supported a president who wanted to do away with the coal industry. The coal industry in northeastern Pennsylvania today, according to my information yesterday, are employing 1,000 people. he gets on television, Cartwright gets on television and says, you know, I'm for jobs, and this is my job, I work for you. And maybe he does, but why would you want to do? I see all this hypocrisy, okay, and the press feed him that. They make you believe what they're saying is right. You know, a majority of the press. Thank God we have some members of the press that will question. Your thoughts on that? Am I nuts or what?
No, Sam, you can't be from a state here and be against an industry that's putting so many of our people to work. Energy is Pennsylvania's #1 job creator for the future now, what we can become. And, you know, you have all of the candidates who are running for president on the Democrat side all talking about this crazy great green deal, gang green deal, I don't know, whatever the heck they call it, but what it does, it says that in 10 years we're going to eliminate all the fossil fuels. So everyone in Pennsylvania that's tied to either the natural gas industry, the coal industry, you know, whatever we have, you're out of a job. Now, as a member, even if when a crazy idea comes, it doesn't matter what party you're in, at some point you need to say, this is nuts. This is crazy. How no more airplanes? I mean, to think about this and have presidential candidates say won't come out and condemn this idea, or anybody in Congress or the Senate. This is troubling what's happened to the Democrat Party, Sam. They've been hijacked. They are on a road to socialism. If you are a moderate Democrat, they will now eat you up.
Oh,
I've watched this happen in the Republican side.
Yeah.
And this is out of control because Alexandria Cortez, she is becoming a cult leader, and her leadership is afraid to say that these, I mean, Democrats are talking about tri-semester abortions. I just watched Donna Brazile on TV, who was the past chair of the Democrat Party, would not come out and say that 48 hours before a baby is born that it's not wrong to kill that baby. Would not say it. They're talking about infanticide after the baby, and nobody will come out and condemn it after the baby is born.
Yeah.
Let the mother decide whether to kill it.
You just said, and no one will come out to condemn them. And here again, as a devout Catholic, my question is, where is the Catholic Church? Where are the bishops? Where are the parish priests? Where are the deacons? Where is the Catholic Church supporting people that are pro-life? Okay, now maybe they're there, and I stand to be corrected, but you promoted pro-life every time you had bills,
100%.
okay, 100%. Did you ever get a letter from any priest or any bishop or any cardinal saying, Congressman Barletta, we support, you're not supporting your agenda, but you're pro-life? No. President Trump, Vice President Pence spoke at the pro-life. I didn't hear anything at all about that. I mean, it's very disheartening that you don't have anyone saying this is wrong. Look what Cuomo did in the state of New York. Cardinal Tobin said, well, we can't excommunicate him because it'll send a message. Well, I don't know what kind of message. What kind of message you want to send?
So how did we get here? How did we get to a place where at one time the debate was abortion or no abortion, to a place where can we kill a baby after it's born? And this is how, because nobody stood up, whether it's the church, whether it's the media, who now support the Democrat agenda and have allowed the debate. Forget about abortion, no abortion. It's like the day the baby's born, the mother could decide, I think I'd like to abort this baby. I mean, this is how we've gotten here because people are afraid to stand up, and they've taken political sides, and that's how our country is now leaning to where it is. And I don't believe most people in America,
they don't know,
want a tri-semester abortion.
The senior citizens are being so misled by the media, by the press, and by these guys who are, they're nice people. He's sociable, he shook my hand, etc. They're being so sold by that, Lou, that when it affects their life and when they need an operation and they're 76 or 78 and they say, wait a minute, we can't cover that because, this is our health care program. Now they want to come out with a health care program, okay, and you got the wacko liberals, okay, who think this is a great thing. But for seniors, they're going to get screwed. Tell us how they're going to get screwed.
Well, first of all, if you have a private health care plan, their idea, Medicare for all, think about this. It was just a couple of years ago the Democrats were saying the Republicans were going to destroy Medicare. Well, how, putting everybody on Medicare, that's going to cost $30-some trillion, how is that going to survive? And the fact is, if you have a private health care plan, it's gone. The government, you now go on a government-run health care plan, so all these private plans are totally gone. Sam, we talk about the opioid crisis, which is horrific. Hit Pennsylvania, one of the hardest states in the country. Pennsylvania, Ohio, the Appalachian region has 60% more deaths, opioid deaths, than anywhere else in the country. How can you then have a media who realizes that we have an opioid crisis, but yet will not cross the line to say, well, then we've got to stop this from coming into the drugs. If you want to stop the opioid crisis, then doesn't it make sense to try to stop the supply? But no, we can't do that because the Democrats are for an open border, so we can't come out and say that the wall should be built because we want to stop drugs. We want to do something about opioids. So it's really ingenuous to say we want to do something about the crisis, but yet if it crosses that political line, then we're not going to go there.
We see hypocrisy day after day after day. And, people want to know, why is the world becoming the way it is? The press, I blame the media. I blame the media because they have not been fair to the American public. And when I look at numbers like CNN comes out and they must have been shocked because here again, you have these people who are just so way out. Okay, listen, I'm up for a debate. I haven't had anyone yet come on my show since 1994 that tell me why it's okay to go in there, rip a little arm ahead, crush your head, and now kill them before they're born. No one has said to me, this is... We have Catholics today. We have Catholics today who say it's okay to kill an unborn baby. I mean, how hypocritical can a person be to say it's okay to kill an unborn baby? Talking to former Congressman Lou Barletta. Folks, I know some of you get upset when we do these shows, but if you think I'm nuts, email me. Tell me where I'm crazy. I know some of you are staunch Democrats, staunch Republicans. It's wrong. Okay, we see what's happening in this country, and we're being misled by most of the media. I'm sorry. I hate to say that, but we are. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, 24/7 SSPTV.com. Download the app, SSPTV, and watch all of our shows. Today, talking about what direction the country's going into. Former Congressman Barletta, Lou Barletta is my guest today. We see, I guess I'm not picking on the Democrats, but I'm just thinking, it's a shame we don't have the Democrats that we used to have. Like when I was a Democrat with my father, my mother, and my grandparents, the modern Democrats were for people and had morality. You read the Democrat platform, you want to throw up. Here again, I don't know where the hypocrisy. We have nothing. We have heard nothing from the Catholic Church condemning these particular things, and maybe they have, and I stand to be corrected, Lou. So it's crazy. So some of the things they want to do, because they're losing at the ballot box. What do they want to do now?
They now want to allow 16-year-olds to vote. Because they know that
they'll sell them a bill of goods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What better way to get a vote than tell somebody that we're going to give you everything for free, that you won't have
free
to pay for college,
free this,
free phone,
yeah. Right.
Everything's free, and you're entitled to it. Free healthcare, everything's free, and who do you think they're going to vote for?
Yep.
Because the American people elected Donald Trump president, and he had put 2 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court now, so they can't win at the ballot box. So now they want to change and add 2 more judges to the Supreme Court. I mean, You're talking about yesterday, Democrat candidate for president talked about allowing illegal immigrants to get Social Security. Again, you know, how this has all changed when at one time I was a Democrat too, a good portion of my life. The Democrat Party stood for the working man and woman. And they claimed that the Republicans were for the business. And probably a lot of it was accurate. Now what's happened is you have a president saying, I'm going to stand up for the American worker. I don't want somebody coming in here taking my job. The Democrats were complaining in the early 2000s about Social Security. The Republicans wanted to bankrupt Social Security. And then you have a presidential candidate talking about allowing illegal immigrants to get Social Security. I mean, this party has moved so fast towards socialism. AOC in New York, Alexandria Cortez, she has been leading this. Pelosi cannot stop her. And now the Democrat candidates are all trying to outdo each other, that who can be more liberal. That is not who the Democrat Party was. That was not the John F. Kennedy Democrats. You know, they are not that far left, and nobody will come out and in that party and have the courage to come out and say this is wrong. And therefore, they are allowing it to happen. I know a lot of Democrats who were colleagues of mine, who are friends, and Sam, they don't agree. And they won't say it publicly. They don't agree with what's happening, but they don't have the courage to come out, and because they're afraid of the backlash of these people who are now leading this Democrat Party. It is out of control. And if a Democrat would finally come out and say, this is not where the majority of the Democrats are. They are not for killing babies a day before the baby is born. They're not for getting rid of cars and planes and trains and cows. But nobody will do it. Nobody will do it.
Sometimes when they don't run for office anymore, such as you're a former congressman, maybe you'll get back in the political field. Don't know, but sometimes after that, they've voiced their opinions. Saying, I didn't really like this, but they're swamped internally. So what do you see? You were there. You were very involved. I mean, you were right there with the administration. You had first-hand information, Homeland Security. People thinking, well, they want us to vote Republican. No, I want you to vote for people that are responsible and going to uphold morality. But no one's questioning them and saying, well, where do you stand? Like the person didn't want to admit, about 48 hours about who was that person you were talking about on the interview that said that she didn't want to admit that it was wrong, or the one person on the news, I forget. She didn't want to admit the abortion fact 48 hours before that. Okay, where do you see us going, Lou?
Well, I see at this election is going to be the difference. I mean, is this where the country wants to go? Does it want to go that far left where there are no borders, tear down the walls, allow everyone to get Medicare for all, allow illegal immigrants to get Social Security, let's do away with all fossil fuels, cars, planes, trains, no more meat. We're going to all eat healthy. Government. Are
all the candidates on that same
nobody
train?
They're all, not one of them will come out and say that this is crazy, this is wrong. Even
Biden?
Well, Biden, he's not in yet, and I think when he does get in, which he will, I believe he's going to say something different, and then watch what the party will do to him. It'll be interesting to see if they will eat him up. And Sam, I'm not going to leave Republicans out of this either.
Oh, no.
The reason I've supported this president was because he had the courage to say, listen, coming into the country illegally is wrong. It's not racist. It's pro-immigrant. I want immigrants to earn more money. I want them to have a better life. That's why many Latinos across the country support this president, because they are doing better. More are working now than ever before. He's going into the African American communities and saying, listen, we're going to create opportunity zones so that you can do better. That's why more are working. The leadership in the Republican Party has allowed this to happen.
Yes.
Why didn't we build the walls? Why didn't we secure the borders? Why didn't we have a plan to replace Obamacare when they had the chance? that's why the swamp needs to be drained. Yeah. And that's why, you know, when people want to criticize the president for what he says in tweets, listen, a lot of it is to make sure that people are following what he's saying, because the media is not being fair and they're not reporting what's actually happening. So he needs to entertain people along the way. But it's the policies that are making the difference, and that's why 70% of the American people like the economy.
You know, I'm sure the guy's not perfect. I'm sure he's you know, sometimes I read some of his tweets, and you know, but when you weigh the entire situation, you know, I've made some mistakes on my show and apologize for them, because, you know, etc. But I'm hoping that, particularly with the seniors, that they really look at what's going on. I know you're going to be very active with the campaign, and hopefully we could continue the conversation as to what direction we're going. Folks, you have anything that you feel that you'd like to add? My email is sam@ssptv. Give us a call here. I always open to constructive criticism. I have a few people in Orangeburg and some people in Schuylkill Haven that were a little upset with me with some of the shows that I'm having. And that's okay, but I've always asked for opposing people to come on and bring their viewpoints. I don't find them, okay? Because when you are a staunch Republican, you gotta vote Republican. When you're a staunch Democrat, you vote staunch. Look at what's happened. We have a person now who wants to drain that swamp, saying, let's vote for people who are qualified. Not because they're nice guys, not because they smile, not because they tell you jokes. What are their qualifications? See you next time.